If you've ever felt pressure to have your life figured out by 30 or even 23, you're going to be obsessed with today's guest. Isan Elba is not just Idris Elba's daughter, although, yes, we go there and she gives me her honest opinions on the conversation around nepotism and privilege. But she's been a filmmaker, a DJ, a mental health advocate, a content creator, and now the founder of a nonprofit disrupting the beauty industry in the best possible way. We talk all about how Isan has redefined success on her own terms, what it's really like growing up with a famous last name, and how she's using her platform to make beauty more accessible, sustainable, and purpose driven with her new nonprofit, Beauty Access and Beauty Forward. She also opens up about imposter syndrome, mental health, building confidence from the ground up, and why self worth has become the most important thing she's building. This conversation is raw, honest, and totally inspiring. So, whether you're on your own healing journey, feeling stuck in your career, or just need a reminder that you are allowed to pivot, this episode is for you. Welcome, Isan, to the Everygirl podcast. You obviously grew up with an interesting understanding of success. What did success look like to you, or what do you believe success was when you were a child?
Oh my goodness. I think as a kid, you see, millionaires and cars and nice clothes and literally all of those things. Also, it was like hard work
Mm.
and a lot of sacrifice. So as I've gotten older, I have kind of, to some extent, gotten to the point where when I was a child, I thought this is success. This is how I would feel when I got that. And as I have gotten older, I'm still figuring out what my real vision of success is. I think that my vision when I was a child was warped and it was more like everybody kind of had that vision, but now it's way more internal versus external.
You are such a driven person, and I always want to know where that thread starts for people and like how that motivation came to be. So now when you're as an adult trying to find your own definition of success and it's internal, what does that mean to you? I know it's sounds like it's a journey, but what does that look like for now?
I was just so unsatisfied, I think, is how I would describe it. I felt like no matter what milestone or big accomplishment I was getting, I wasn't actually like happy or in the moment for it. I was just thinking about what's the next thing. But when you're always thinking about what's the next thing, you have to think to yourself, well, what do you think the last thing is going to be if it's not the next? And you prayed about that years ago. Why do you feel the need to, keep this momentum or keep telling yourself it's not good enough? It's not good enough. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm very hard on myself. And I'm now getting to a point where I feel more successful and I feel more passionate about what I do. But that's because I recognize that what I was doing before, just as a creator, wasn't fully fulfilling me. It was giving me the things I thought felt successful, but didn't make me feel like that on the inside.
I think so many people relate to that feeling of being like, wait, I thought this was the thing that was going to fulfill this void and it didn't. And then we kind of get to the point of like, okay, now what? What happens
Yeah.
next? So, can you walk through your career journey, like starting when you were a teenager? You were trying to fulfill that in so many different ways. I'd love for you to share what those ways were.
I can remember, like, my earliest memory, I wanted to be a veterinarian because I loved animals
Oh,
so much.
that
So
is
I wanted
so
to be a
cute.
veterinarian, and then I wanted to be a scientist, and
Women in
then,
STEM, we love.
I kind of got there to some extent. I'm like, "Okay, I'm glad that I could live out a little bit of my childhood dream," and then I got to acting, which pretty much was what I wanted to do up until, like, 2, 3 years ago. I always thought I was gonna be an actor. Always thought if not that, I would be a director or a DP or a screenwriter, like something within that universe. I went to NYU for film school, so I really was committed to the bit. And I ended up leaving because I realized that what I really liked doing was being the person that drove creation, being a producer, having an idea and making sure that it got to its finish line. And I'm so glad that I made that recognition early on because I think it's the perfect combination of this like logical mind that I like to have and this like creative, crazy ideas mind that I also like to have. And so I think, as we continue to talk about my journey, you'll see how I've slowly been implementing that a lot more. But I'm happy that I have this background of wanting to do both, wanting to be in both sides of the coin.
It seems like you're very creative, but then you also have like the executor in you where you're like, get
Yes.
shit done,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
which is a powerhouse combo. It really is. It's
Yeah.
so good.
No, it took me a long time to get here. So when people ask me, like, how do you do it? It's always a different answer because I'm always a work in progress. And I think you always should be, you should always be trying to improve or learn yourself more. So there's certain things that I know I will not be an executor on. And that's okay because you can't be everything to everybody. But I know that even if I don't fully know what I'm doing, I'll still try my best.
I think we all feel this in some way when we want to create our own identity, whether it's, okay, I thought I wanted this career path and my identity was this career path, and I figure out who I am without that, or whether it's, who am I separate from my family as my own individual. What was the hardest part for you about carving your own identity, and what's been the most freeing?
That's a great question because I'm 23, so I'm still constantly figuring out my own identity. And it's really weird because everybody at this age and younger ages are trying to figure out their identity, but mine was more predetermined or more public than other people. So as I've grown, I've tried to figure out who am I, but also trying to detach myself from this identity of, someone's daughter or nepotism in general. How do you separate yourself from that? And I'm in a spot where I don't necessarily wanna separate myself because I don't wanna forget the privilege that I have, and I wanna be able to try and take that and use it for something that's actually more useful and beneficial for everybody and not just myself. So, as I've been finding my identity, it's been trying to implement themes of that into everything that I do.
Having that one like North Star that you're like, this is
Mm,
who I am, and letting what you pursue fluctuate within that based on that North
yes.
Star. That's a really powerful way to actually define, here's the thing that's so me, that makes me
Yeah.
different from my family or the world I come from or whatever it is, that it's just you. I mean, I am curious your thoughts on the nepotism conversation, because doing the research for this interview, what I was so impressed by is you've been doing shit since you were like 15 years old. Like you were not the typical like celebs child that's like, "Oh yeah, I'll get into films later." Like you
Mhm,
were hustling since you were
mhm.
really young. So when people talk about nepotism, like what are your thoughts on it? That's got to be so annoying.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand it. Even for me, sometimes I look at other nepo babies, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, you have this and this."
I'm
So
jealous
it's
of
it's
you.
yeah, it's so funny because like I grew up with my dad half of the time and my mom the other half of the time, so I kind of got this really, I guess, cultured sense of everything. I think a lot of people thought I grew up in LA and, had that kind of very Hollywood lifestyle, but I didn't, and I'm so grateful that I didn't because it keeps me grounded and allows me to really want to explore. I think the nepotism conversation is one that is important to have because I think what we really should be talking about is how, as somebody who is automatically given some sort of privilege, I think that you are required to pass that along. And a lot of people who are privileged don't feel the need to do that and feel very comfortable and complacent. And those are the nepo babies that we kind of are obsessed with. But then we also have this scrutiny that is, oh, well, they don't do anything and they don't work for anything. But also, it's hard for me to say because I think I'm an example of somebody who, recognizes that and tries to push that forward. And it's not as easy as, being able to walk down a a runway or being put into a movie, you know? It's like real genuine work trying to, change a whole freaking beauty system. So I think that I'm trying to utilize all of my connections and my privilege to be able to turn that on its head and make a new path for people with nepotism to go down, which is giving back.
You're a really powerful example of it because, many of us have privilege in many different ways. Like that can obviously be defined in so many different avenues.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people spend conversations like this resisting that privilege and being
Mhm.
like, no, but
Oh,
look
yeah.
at how much I struggle. Look at all these
Yeah.
things. Instead of using that privilege, whatever that looks like, me being a white person, I'm very privileged for
Mhm.
that. We all have different levels of privilege. So
Absolutely.
using that privilege to help other people raised up instead of
Yes.
resisting it.
Yeah, no, it's an important conversation to have, and nepo babies have been a big topic of conversation, but we need to kind of shift this conversation and make sure that we're utilizing it in a way that's practical and actually making a change in other people's lives.
Yes. Like, okay, we're privileged, so what can we do with it? Yes.
So what can we do?
What can we
Exactly. How do you
do?
pass it along?
Which I know is exactly what you're doing with Beauty Access. So talk to me about this and share with our listeners, what is Beauty Access? How did this idea come to be? Like, take me back to the very beginning.
What I'll do is I will give you my lore.
Oh, give me the lore. Yes, Isan.
So I first started Beauty Access in 2024. I had a bunch of stuff that was coming into my house. I would get makeup, I would get clothes, I would just get so many products all the time. And I would say that my apartment looked like a Sephora because I just had so many things. And it got to this point where I would never have in a million years would I've ever thought that I would be upset about having all these products. But I think the problem really lied in the fact that like they were just collecting dust. It wasn't physically possible for me to use all of these products. If I got a bright pink lipstick, I'm probably not going to use that, but I'm not also not going to throw it away. So when I tried to figure out ways to donate these products, it became a whole situation of how do you donate those products and how do you donate them in mass with also dignity, not just dumping these products onto shelters, but actually thinking, hey, I have these products. How do we make sure that we give them away in the most beneficial way possible? So I decided to have an event, and I had girls 16 through 19 come in. I think we had around 20 girls, and I'd never thrown an event before in my life. I just wanted some type of way for me to give back, but also connect with my community. Like, I'm a yapper, so having a screen of people who follow me but don't actually know who I am just didn't sit right with me. So I wanted to figure out how I can really get in touch with people. So I had 5 other creator friends donate around 1,000 unused, unopened products. And we set up shelves and we let the girls take whatever they wanted. And everybody pretty much left with 2 huge bags of products. And as much as I love being a creator, I also wanted to showcase that there are a lot of different methods and ways for you to be able to get the benefits of being a creator, the free products, the fun events, and everything, especially at that age. You don't know what you want to do. And so when you're seeing a shiny object and I'm in a position of influence, I want to influence education. So I had a panel as well that was a career panel, and we had the head of PR at MAC Cosmetics, a vice president at a PR company, the head of management at my old management company, and a beauty journalist. And the principle was these are all people who make my job possible. I wouldn't be able to do it without them. So consider this. And so it was amazing because one girl got an internship to Condé Nast afterwards. So
Oh my
it was
god.
just a beautiful example of how you can try and connect people into one room and also, share that value and pass it forward. When I first started this, I was like, okay, how do I invite people? So I literally put up like a type form on my Instagram and I said, sign up, whoever wants to come is interested in beauty and wants this type of connection or help getting their foot in the door, like I'm here to listen and I also want to give you free products. In our second event, we had a donation drive and pop up cafe. Once again, put up an ad on my Instagram. Was like, anybody wants to come in, donate products, and also just have this community. The beauty industry or beauty in general is so ingrained into like literally everything that we do. So I wanted to make sure that we had a funnel for giving back within the beauty industry because when it comes to fashion, there's a lot of give back programs or upcycling and such, and art and everything else. But when it comes to beauty, there wasn't much of that. On the spot that day, I made a announcement. I said, I am going to make a program where we donate excess beauty and hygiene products in a systematized, easy to donate way. And so that's how the second part of Beauty Access, Beauty Forward, was born. And so Beauty Forward is like a tech enabled redistribution system that lets us do on demand couriers to creators' houses to pick up their excess products. It comes to us and we sort through every single product. We get thousands of products all the time. So we check every single one, we log it into our system. We're able to say the brand name, the product, the retail value, is an essential product or a non essential product. And that's really amazing because we've partnered with Women in Need, which is the largest women's shelter network in New York City. They service around like 6,000 women, I believe. And we do monthly redistributions to them. So, kind of just this full circle of how do we get consumers, creators, and also our underserved communities all together, kind of around this one thing that we all experience.
That is so powerful, and it's like there's enough for all of us, like, quite literally
Yes,
in beauty
absolutely.
products, there's quite literally enough, but it's this, like, with success, you can also help other people. It's like this beautiful, like, redistribution. There's a seat for all of us at the table.
Yeah.
We can all lift each other up with our own success.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the mission. And as a creator who stumbled into this very interesting industry, and if you had told me, young Asan, who wanted to be a veterinarian, that I would be doing something like this, like never in a million years would I have ever thought about it. But I'm so grateful that I have this idea because the amount of other creators, other Nepo babies, other people interested in social impact, I say if I can do it, you can do it. It's just really about having that intention and an actual mission to try and fulfill.
That phrase, beauty access, is so powerful. It's a lot underneath it. What does beauty access mean to you, obviously, beyond the makeup or skincare? Like, what kind of access are you really trying to create?
I want more accountability. I think
Mm.
we have so many products thrown at us all the time, and not even just creators, consumers. Every day you're seeing a new influencer promote some new product that they're telling you have to buy. But there's not really this like life cycle for it. It's kind of just we make this product, we give it to you, and then what happens with it. And the beauty industry is cause of 5 billion unused products that go to waste every single year. It's
Wow.
really a very big issue, and I don't think there's enough conversation around it because there's so many products. If you think about it, almost every brand drops something every quarter, and all of those products are insane. For Beauty Forward, we had one company that was shutting down. And I reached out to the founder and I was like, I would absolutely love if I could take those excess products that you have off of your hands. And she gave us around 4,500 products that were perfectly good. And she said, if you didn't take these, we would have thrown them away. So we really want to try and create solutions and access for people so that it's easier to, be more inclusive as well as more sustainable.
That is crazy how much waste there is. It's mind blowing. I love the point you brought up about just as a consumer, this overwhelm of, well, now you need this new thing. And the amount of beauty products that I will not even get to the end of because I'm like, oh, there's this new shiny object that I need this
Yeah.
eyeshadow instead of
Oh,
finishing this
yeah.
one. And it's overwhelming, I think, just as a consumer. It always feel like there's a new thing, and that's like by design of the beauty industry. That's the marketing of it, is like you have to feel left out, you have to feel
Mhm.
not good enough so that you
Yeah.
keep spending money.
Yeah, 1,000%. And it's just the design of it.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten into this, I've become way more aware, and I've been trying to make it a part of my mission to also make people just a little bit more aware. We don't need to feel bad about it. It's not our fault. It's just how do we be a little bit more intentional about the products that we allow into our life?
How do you really balance that, I guess, kind of almost like inherent need of like, oh, there's a new product or a new method or routine or whatever, balancing that with, I don't need the another thing. I don't need to go into consumer culture, waste culture.
I'm not the most sustainable girl in the world. Like that is absolutely, not where I am. I'm still working on being a little bit better with my plastic use and all these different things, but I think when you think about the word sustainable, you think of this like someone who hugs trees and and won't do anything wrong to the planet. But we need to redefine that because I think that's what's kind of making this disconnect for people is feeling like you have to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm just making sure that I clean up behind myself. And that is the first step.
As simple as if you're not gonna, use a product, donate it.
Yeah.
It's amazing to have that solution from Beauty Forward, even just as simple as that, even if you can't get out of the consumer trend and, like, all that, which I get, it's hard. Just
Yeah.
donating what you haven't used, and, like, that's the one simple step you can do and just taking it baby steps.
Yeah, even one in, one out. If you buy a product, use it completely. If you liked it, rebuy it. If you didn't like it, try something new. But don't just keep buying more products. Just see it through.
And our wallets will be very happy with us for that too.
Exactly.
So,
It's good for saving. I don't,
it's good
this
for
is
saving.
good.
This segment is brought to you by Shipped, your new secret weapon for surviving the holidays without the stress spiral. You know that feeling this time of year when your to do list is longer than Santa's naughty list? Between gift shopping, grocery runs, and realizing last minute you forgot cranberry sauce for the third year in a row, it's a lot. And honestly, I'm just not about the chaos this year. This month's monthly curriculum theme is being present because I want you to actually enjoy the season, not sprint through it. And I have a hack that will help us all be more present. This year, I'm letting Shipped take a few things off my plate so I can actually enjoy the season. Last week, I was hosting a holiday girls' night and I realized I forgot the main ingredient for the dessert. Normally, that would have meant an emergency store grocery run in heels and half a face of makeup during peak traffic. But instead, I opened, Shipped, placed my order, and within a few hours, it was at my door. The night and also my sanity was saved. Shipped is the go-to for saving time and your mental peace during the holidays. You can get same-day delivery on the things you need: groceries, holiday decor, gifts, yes, even the stocking stuffers or the white elephant gift you forgot. They partner with over 100 national retailers and local favorites. Think Target, Michael's, even PetSmart. And shoppers with Shipped handle your order with the kind of care your type A brain dreams of. I'm talking text updates, thoughtful substitutions, so your order is just right. Shipp's Season of Savings event is happening now through December 28th. That means exclusive deals and serious discounts, including member-only savings. Terms apply, but you know we love a good deal. So whether it's groceries for your holiday dinner, last-minute gift wrap, or that toy your niece swore she couldn't live without, Shipped has your back. It's gifting made easy, groceries made convenient, and errands made obsolete. What Shipped really gives you is time back during the busiest season of the year. The chance to rest, to actually be present, to soak in the movie marathons and the festive parties, and maybe even finding a little time for you during all the craziness of the season. So if you're ready to make your holidays less chaotic and more present, get same-day delivery with Shipped. Download the app or sign up now at shipped.com/hi. Huge thank you to Shipped for sponsoring the segment and for keeping the holidays magical. If your holiday shopping list lives in your notes app and you're doing 90% of it in bed with a face mask on and holiday movie in the background, me too. But with all the too good to be true deals and the random checkout pages that we are trusting with our credit cards, this season has also become prime time for scammers to slide into our wallets. It's not just fake links from random DMs anymore. Scammers are impersonating legit brands, your bank, even people you know. It's called impersonation fraud. So when I say the Chase mobile app and Chase credit journey is a lifesaver, I mean it. They help make it easier to spot unusual activity because nothing ruins a holiday season like some scammers or fraud. If you want to learn more about setting up alerts, monitoring your credit, or using Chase Credit Journey, head to chase.com/holiday scams. Huge thank you to Chase Bank for supporting this episode and for helping us all shop smarter and stress a little less this season. The other topic I want to talk to you about is mental health
Mhm.
because I know it's something that you are also hugely passionate about. In my
Yeah.
research, I saw that you were talking about mental health as early as when you were 16 years old back in 2018, before it
Yeah.
became this like much bigger, more mainstream conversation that it is now. So, what first made that topic feel so important to you, especially at that really young age?
Yeah, my mom. I am so grateful that I had a mom who was open about talking about mental health, and anything that I was feeling didn't feel invalidated, especially at that age. This boy said I wasn't cute or whatever. Like all of those things when you're younger feels like the end of the world. And my mom really saved this space for me to be able to control my anxiety, to control my thoughts, to go to therapy, and to build a more confident sense of self. It's extremely important to advocate for that because we think about our physical health, but we don't think about our mental health as much. And that makes up a huge part of everything. The fact that I have beauty access and beauty forward, and I'm a creator and I'm also a DJ, like mental health is the only reason I am able to do it. If my mental health doesn't feel right, I'm not going to be able to, do this podcast. I'm not going to be able to do my DJ set. And if I am, it's not to my best ability. So how do I take care of myself to make sure that I am able to do the things that I actually want or that make me money?
So, it sounds like you view mental health as the very first priority.
Absolutely.
Which it
Yeah.
feels like obvious of like, "Oh, of course it should be," but I think we so often think of, "Okay, we're just gonna push through. Yes, I'm getting anxious, but, like, just push through and get stuff done." When we actually are in practice, we typically are not putting our mental health first, and I love how you talk about it of, like, it's the foundation of everything. It's not what I tend to when I have the time or when these other things get done. It's the
Mhm.
foundation I have to have first in order to have a career, in order to have good friendships, in order to do anything I want. It is the
Yeah.
foundation of that, not the added bonus if all these other things get done.
I like to describe it kind of as a bank. That's what really helped me in the beginning of that journey was if I allow myself to really put my mental health first most of the time, I would be able to have those days where I have to put it to the side and push through, you know? I think that a lot of people think, oh, I don't have time for mental health, but you're not going to be able to have time to push through if you don't think about your mental health, you know? I think we have to flip it on its head. It's the priority, it's the foundation, and you won't be able to push through and do what you have to if you're not there.
And how did you learn that? Because I think we're forced to learn these things, and so I'm curious, like,
Oh,
how
yeah.
you developed that relationship with your mental health.
Getting to a point of being so deeply unsatisfied with my life, unsatisfied with myself. It's a really dark place to not feel like you have your own back, if that makes sense. If I'm not the person who's loving myself, who is going to be? And it really took me going to like rock bottom to realize this is not how I want to live and this is not how I want to be. Making little small changes in my life is really something that I value because I get very overwhelmed very easily by things. And just taking things one step at a time has been great. And that looks different every single day. Maybe that is, you know, checking something small off of my to-do list, or maybe that's just taking a shower that day. I think that we have to make sure that we're emphasizing in our heads that your journey is very specifically unique, and you have to it takes time and work and energy to discover that. You're not just gonna, read a book about self-love and suddenly you love yourself. You kind of have to go through the trenches for you to come out on the other side.
Yes, 100%, and I love the idea of, like, doing just, like, little things at a time because that's the hard challenge is when we feel so much anxiety, so much lack of self-worth, whatever it is, it's so hard to get ourselves out of it because it feels like
Yeah.
literally, how do we start? And also, that feels like a mountain to climb. So instead of looking at it like you're just getting over a little anthill every day, did
Mhm.
you take a shower? Did you get out of bed? Counting those wins, that's what builds the momentum of like, okay, I can get myself out of this hole, even if it's going to take time. That's okay. I
Absolutely.
can get there.
Yeah. It's a journey, and if you put everything kind of out there for what you want, to give a more practical example, I love a to-do list. I love a to-do list of everything that I need. There's also another method where if I feel stressed, I put what I feel, every single thing that I feel stressed about on a piece of paper. And when you put it on that paper, you realize like, oh, it's really not that much, but in your head, it's like a huge double stacked Bible of
Yeah.
issues that you have to go through. But just put it on a page, write things down, really make it physical.
Really good tips, especially like the spiral that we can go into. I feel like you have to like get it out of your body. Like you just have to like
A
put it
hundred
somewhere.
percent.
Those are amazing strategies. We're always building toolkits to help us, like
Mhm.
anxiety, self-worth, healing, whatever it is. It's like a lifelong journey. There's never a point that we get to that we're like, I'm fully healed forever.
No.
Yay. Good for me. It's a lifelong journey. And so having these tools is so crucial. Like that's, I think, a powerful part of being a human is that we're always on
Mhm.
this journey. And something else that I think is so interesting about what you just said is especially that piece about the self-worth. And I know you were kind of laughing earlier about like, oh, this boy doesn't like me and like all those things that we go through as a teenager. I'm really interested to hear your journey with self-worth specifically because, looking at all you've accomplished, being just 23, performing as a DJ, growing up in an industry where there's so much pressure and noise, like I look at you and I think that's a really confident, self-assured person. It sounds like it wasn't always that way. I'd love for you to talk about where that confidence came from.
Fake it till you make it.
Mm,
I say that all the time. I'm a huge advocate of it. If I didn't make up this kind of confident persona in my head of what I would love for myself to be like, I wouldn't have gotten there. Now I can say I am not faking it. I am confident, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm everything, But if I had said that out loud maybe 3, 4 years ago even, wouldn't understand, wouldn't even be able to comprehend that I would really be able to love myself and vocally advocate for myself in that sense. But it takes practice. There are still days where I feel like I have this huge sense of imposter syndrome. I had a huge milestone of being able to speak at Harvard a couple weeks ago. And the first
that is
thing,
crazy. That is like, whoa.
it was very crazy. And that was a moment where I would think, "Oh, I've built up enough confidence that I know I deserve that." But I could not stop thinking like, "Why did they pick me? Like, I can't believe I'm doing this, yada yada." But once again, I implemented that fake it till you make it hat on, and I was like, "Asan, there's even if you don't realize it, there's got to be some reason. So you better be confident and keep pushing." And so now I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't allow myself to get into that negative self talk, because the more you do, the more you believe it. So I just kind of forced myself to think of it as, no, you do deserve this. The more you say it in the mirror, say it on your walk. When I'm having a panic attack, sometimes I talk to myself and I'm like, it's okay, Hassan, like calm down, you're fine. All of these little things are ways that you can try and just remove yourself from that feeling because that's not really who you are.
That is really powerful. I even love that idea. Like, it sounds like you almost 3 years ago, maybe when you started going on this journey, had this idea of this is the person that I know I really am. Like, this is who I'm meant
Mhm.
to be. And you just kind of
Yes.
like tap into that channel that even if you don't believe it, even if you're saying, I'm a badass, I'm awesome, I'm hot, I love myself, I'm so
Yeah.
successful. Even if you're not like deeply believing it to your core, it's still just the practice of like, okay, this is what it
Mhm.
feels like to tap into that version I know I am.
Yes, that is 1,000% what I do, and it changed my life.
Confidence to me is like one of my favorite topics. I'm fascinated by it because I think that what I've learned being able to interview so many amazing, successful women like you is like confidence is really the thing that sets people apart from achieving what they want and not achieving it. Like that is the number one thing. It's not education, it's not experience, it is literally confidence to do it. So that's like the thing I'm always stressing to my audience of like, let's tap into this. Let's work on this skill I've never known anyone who I would look at like you and think, oh, she must be so confident, who's ever said, oh, yeah, I'm fully confident all the time. It's about confidence as a practice, not as a feeling.
Mhm.
Confidence is like feeling the insecurity, but doing it anyway. It's not feeling like I'm ready, I deserve it, I'm there, I got it. It is feeling the insecurity and doing it anyway. And you are like the perfect example of that.
I don't like to baby myself.
You're like, Isan, get it
I
together. Let's do it.
No, literally, like, that is how I talk to myself, and it's because I know that I have love for myself, that I know I can be the best version of myself, and there's really nothing that I can't do. As much as I, sometimes have moments where I feel like, "Oh, I can't do that." I literally tell myself, "Don't say that, because if you say that, it becomes law." Yeah,
Mm.
it really is just a repetition, and I'm thinking about this and laughing because as I'm saying it out loud to you, it's interesting because that's the type of advice that I would kind of get when I was younger, and I didn't really understand it as much. It's this easy sense of, "Oh, just love yourself, just be confident." It's like, it's not that easy, but I don't think that that really is the message. It is telling yourself that and working towards believing it.
Working toward believing it. You may not feel it right now, but you can work toward believing it, which means you're
Yeah.
taking these little steps. You're making yourself feel the anxiety and do it anyway. You're working toward that. It's an action step instead of waiting for this feeling to come. Like, I think we think of it like, once I feel confident, then I'll launch this business, then I will, go on the dating app and all whatever it is. And it's not
Mhm.
this like thing that hits us of like, oh, I'm confident today. It's something that we're working toward getting.
Yes, every day you're practicing it and you don't even realize you have opportunities where you can advocate for yourself or take up space. But it's this fear of being rejected. It's this fear of failing. It's this fear of looking like you don't know what you're doing. But those are all the things that you have to encounter to be confident. If I don't know something, I will say, I don't know this. And I'm glad that I can say that because it gives me more knowledge on the other side instead of just pretending and then never knowing what the real answer is. You have to put yourself out there. You have to get some no's. And I constantly practice rejection therapy. What's the worst thing that somebody can say to me? No. What's the worst thing that can happen? It's definitely not dying. So if you
Yeah.
really take it to that extreme, nothing really is that deep.
Okay. Whoa. Rejection therapy. So is this something that you are like doing in your head of this exercise like you just did of, okay, I'm worried about reaching out to this person or whatever. What's the worst that can happen? Like you are doing this in your head.
Yeah. Yeah. Every day I have to send out emails for my nonprofit. We're constantly asking brands, "Hey, do you want to partner with us?" Who am I to go and ask Mac Cosmetics, the head of PR, to come speak on my event? We even had a curtain fall down in the event. Like but I had that confidence. I had that confidence in my head of what is the worst that can happen, and she didn't say no. And
Mm.
I'm so grateful that I didn't listen to myself and I actually just did it.
It's so true. Like, what are we so scared of? What would you say to a woman listening who does feel stuck, that does feel lack of confidence, that feels limited, maybe what you felt a few years ago?
You have to find what you're passionate about and you can't be scared to pivot. I went from taking selfies and showing off my outfit to trying to convince people that it's a huge problem that all these products go to waste. I felt like if I changed what I was saying or what I was doing or what people knew me for, it wouldn't work and I would be stuck in that. But I just had to say, this is what I'm passionate about. So I'm going to be better at what I'm passionate about than what I'm not passionate about. And staying stuck in the same space is only going to make you more miserable. I also think of a great example in my life of how everything that has led me to this sense of waiting, like waiting around to love myself or waiting around to, launch my nonprofit. Like at some point, you're going to be forced into doing it because that's the path that you're actually meant to go down. So instead of being drifted along, take control of your own life because you get to say what happens and what doesn't. And the more that you put that into practice, the more that you realize it's reality.
Oh my God, you gave me chills. That was a mic drop moment. Wow, that was good. Okay, Isan, we're gonna wrap up with some rapid fire questions, okay?
100%. Let's do it.
First one, your dream dinner party. You get 3 guests, dead or alive. Who are you inviting to your dream dinner party?
Okay. Emma Grede,
Oh,
first person. Love her.
love
Oh my
her.
God. Second person. Oh gosh, oh gosh. Cammy Crawford. I just think she's just so funny and amazing and beautiful. Another person, oh goodness. This is hard. Zohran Mamdani.
Oh, I want to go to this dinner party. This sounds
Like, I
amazing.
feel like it'd be a little chaotic, but also just, like, bossy. I love it.
Yes, what I would give to see those 3 people in a room together. This would be amazing. Okay, that is an amazing answer. Your current go-to hype song.
Oh gosh. This is not rapid fire. I'm, like, taking forever to think about
Take your
this
time. I know I'm hitting you with
'cause
hard questions.
music is really it's like that's a real representation. I think it's so personal. If you say a name of a song, it's like, "Whoa, okay, that's the
Yeah,
type of music she likes."
it's so
Uh,
true. It's saying a lot. People are really gonna read into whatever you're about to say.
I know it now. I'm scared. Okay, wait. I would say Peggy Goo. Any song by Peggy Goo.
Okay, great answer because I don't know that artist, so I'm gonna have to go try out some
Great
Peggy.
DJ.
Peggy
She's
Goo.
amazing. You should definitely
Okay.
check her out.
Is that a go-to when you're like, "Okay, the crowd needs to get hyped up a little more," like, that's what you're gonna play?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Love. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. Fill in the blank. If everyone had this one habit, it would change their life.
Not babying themselves.
Ooh, I like that. Get your ass up and do something. You got it. You can do it.
And go.
I love
Mhm.
it. I love it. The best advice that you've ever received.
To treat the janitor how you treat the CEO. Make
Oh,
sure that you treat everybody with kindness. Nobody is above anybody else, and the only people who would be above you are people who don't think that they're above other people.
I've heard that a lot about like A-list actors. Have you found that's true of like the most famous actors are the ones that are the nicest to everybody? And it's like
Yeah,
the C-list trying to get up there that are rude to
yeah.
the janitors and the crew and everything.
Nobody ever wants to be around somebody who, is unkind and it makes people's lives harder. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just not it's never gonna be the thing.
It makes so much sense. You can't get to that level of success if people don't like being around you, period.
Yeah, 100%.
Such good advice. What is a book, movie, or show that changed your life?
I think it's called Social Startup Success. It is about how to build a social enterprise, which means building businesses that are actually beneficial to the community and aren't centered around profit.
Really interesting. That sounds so good.
Yeah.
Okay, Isan, where can everybody find you? Beauty Access, Beauty Forward? Give us all the details.
Yes, you can find me on my Instagram and TikTok at Isan Elba, and then for beauty access on Instagram.
Isan, thank you so much. This was amazing.
Thank
You're the
you.
best.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. I had so much fun.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. I know I sure did. Please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference for our show so we can keep growing and bringing the content that you love. If you want more info, you can find us at the Everygirl Podcast on Instagram or at theeverygirlpodcast.com. Talk to you next week.